G'day guys and gal, it's no secret that I'm a bit of a Lion fanboy. I find him to be my favourite Primarch and I've thoroughly enjoyed every single aspect of his return, especially the book that came out alongside him. But despite having a pretty loud and proud return, which involved an anime tier showdown with Angron, it seems like it's all gone pretty quiet on that end of the spectrum. You'd think that arguably the second most powerful man in the Imperium behind Guilliman should probably be a bit more centre stage. In saying that though, he hasn't been doing nothing. Man has actually been a busy little bee, buzz buzz. But unless you've read codexes and shit, which let's be honest, probably like less than 5% of us do, you won't know about some of the dope stuff he's gotten up to. So allow me to fix that. Before we get started, there is literally no point in going to the gym or trying to get jacked if you haven't sorted out your diet. Abs are made in the kitchen, baby. So I've once again come in clutch to deliver you the gain train by partnering up with Factor for today's video. Factor is a microwave meal service that delivers a diverse bunch of high protein, well macroed meals to your door. The convenience is insane. Chuck her in a microwave, take her out and eat. Cleanup also takes like 5 seconds. As for the meals themselves, they go hard since they are pre-cooked and never frozen, so they maintain their freshness. A big issue I usually have with microwave meals is that I get sick of having the same ones, but since Factor sends new meals every week, with you being able to choose which meals you want, you're always going to get great food. So you're getting great tasting food that takes no time to cook or clean and is perfectly macroed for general health and even bodybuilding, if that's your thing. What's the catch? Well, there really isn't one. Especially by using my link and code Majorkill50, you'll get a massive 50% off your first box, as well as 20% off the one after it. And if you don't end up liking it somehow, then you can cancel at any time. Cheers to Factor for sponsoring this video. Today we'll go over what the Lion has actually done since waking up. We'll also discuss what he could do next. Let's get into it. Now, I've already done a video about how the Lion actually returned, so we don't need to dive into that again. All you need to know is that the Lion woke up with amnesia, but already covered in his new war plate. He also didn't have much control over his new forest walk ability yet, so just sort of went along with the flow, ending up on a foresty world that was controlled by a chaos warband after they had recently invaded. He discovered that the world's survivors were being protected by a fallen angel, Zabriel, who immediately tried to slay the Lion, as his last memory of his gene sire was the Lion massacring the shit out of his brothers on Caliban. However, after the Lion's memory was restored and they had a bit of a heart-to-heart, it was revealed that it was genuinely all a big misunderstanding. See, the Fallen were not unified at all. Some were loyal to the Imperium, some were loyal to Chaos, some were loyal to Caliban. I mean, fuck, some were loyal to the Emperor but not the Lion. The ones that were just normal, like Zabriel, were loyal to the Lion and Caliban and only fought against the Lion because they thought he had invaded them unprovoked, not knowing that it was one of the Fallen commanders who fired upon the Lion's fleet first. The Lion was actually happy to hear this, as it meant that many of the Fallen could be redeemed, with Zabriel becoming the first of the new risen, redeemed fallen angels. From here, the Lion liberated the world by punching on with a bunch of Chaos Marines, including 2 Obliterators, in which he managed to forest walk mid-battle and found his new sword fealty, likely sent to him by the Emperor. With this sword, he made short work of the Obliterators and then moved on. His forest walk ability started taking him to various different worlds, each of which had one or more Fallen on them, showing a link between the ability and his wayward sons. One by one, the Lion recruited these new risen into his ranks, all the while mastering his forest walk ability. He eventually came face to face with Seraphax, a fallen dark angel who used to be a librarian but was now a chaos corrupted sorcerer, as well as his lieutenant Baylor, another fallen angel who was uncorrupted. These 2 warriors had made a pact to stop each other from going too far over the edge and falling too hard to chaos, so Seraphax kept Baylor corruption free and Baylor likewise did the best for his lord. Interestingly, Seraphax saw himself as loyal to the Emperor and he came up with a plan. He wanted to capture the Lion, remove the Lion's soul, and then transplant his own soul into the Lion's body. He would then get an audience with the Emperor, and during the audience, he would strike down the Emperor's withered corpse, hoping it would free the Emperor's spirit to allow him to become a true god and then destroy the Chaos Gods and all aliens. Obviously, this plan was full of holes, and to put it plainly, was turbo retarded. Firstly, no one knows for sure what would happen if the Emperor was struck down, but the odds of it being terrible are pretty high. The Emperor beating Chaos and all Xenos is very, very low on the list of probable outcomes. Secondly, the Lion's corpse getting puppeted by a Chaos Sorcerer would be very obvious to anyone with half a brain cell. The Emperor would sense it from a mile off, and the false Lion would get annihilated by a kill team of elite custodians and Sisters of Silence. But the thought remains, Seraphax thought he was serving the Emperor still. This is what I mean by the Fallen's loyalty being all over the shop. However, the Lion ain't no bitch and he resisted the trap, getting help from his risen. Seraphax then had to embrace chaos and became a monster to try survive, so Baylor stabbed his commander in the back to honor their deal, stopping him from going too far. However, Baylor was wounded in the process. He asked for the Lion's forgiveness forgiveness, which was given. Baelor was then given an honourable, merciful death, as he would have succumbed to his injuries regardless. The Lion would then go on another forest walk, this time to enter a building he had previously been warned not to enter by a Watcher in the Dark, due to him not being a high enough level. But now, because of all the XP he got from the Seraphax quest line, he could enter. He was attacked by a shape-shifting warp entity that took the form of each of his brothers. However, the Lion would find a shield and use it to destroy the entity. The shield was none other than the Emperor's own. It had the ability to reflect damage back onto the attacker, which would come in extremely handy later on. The entity was actually bound by the Emperor to defend the shield, ensuring only someone worthy would ever claim it. Soon after these events, the Lion would encounter Dante, Chapter Master of the Blood Angels and Lord Commander of Imperium Nyas. At first, the Lion was enraged to see Dante wearing a death mask of Sanguinius, not understanding that it was a respectful gesture, before being shocked after Dante told him that his brother, Guilliman, had also returned. However, the Lion was in Imperium Nihilus and Guilliman was in Imperium Sanctus. It's hard as fuck to cross from one side to another, and there's a lot to do on both sides. So the Lion committed himself to the defense of Nihilus while Guilliman continues to take care of business back home. It's unclear if Guilliman knows the Lion is back yet or not, but I would say he does, and if he doesn't, he will know very, very soon, whether it just be from rumors, astropathic messages, being told in person by someone who has seen the Lion, or they'll meet on the same battlefield to take out an especially difficult enemy. After meeting with Dante, the Lion would take his Risen and attack and destroy various Arks of Omen. After this, the next order of business was to arrive on the Chaos-corrupted Caliban and forest walk to it with his Risen in order to show down with Angron and save the Dark Angels, who had foolishly walked into a trap. The Dark Angels are shocked to see their Primarch returned, and even more shocked to see him surrounded by Risen, after all the thousands of years they'd spent hunting them. An especially funny scene has a Risen clamping Azrael on the back, being like, "Sup bro, you missed us?" And Azrael is like, "Ew brother, ew brother." The fight between Angron and the Lion is legendary, the only thing keeping the Lion alive during the fight being the Emperor's shield, as it was able to deflect Angron's mighty blows. Eventually the Lion would triumph, stabbing Angron in the throat and then proceeding to bash his brother's brains out with his shield, banishing him. However, Angron being Angron only needs a couple months to return to real space these days, so it was like using a hose to try to stop a supernova. Okay, maybe banishing Angron temporarily is more helpful than that, but you know what I mean. Here's where the lore gets a bit weird, because apparently the Codex writers and book writers never fucking speak to each other, or read each other's works apparently. The Lion is reunited with the Dark Angels, with Azrael offering up his position back to the Lion. However, the Lion rejects this and allows Azrael to remain as the Supreme Grand Master. However, this was more of a superficial role, as obviously the Lion now had command. However, this is where the Lion went on to do weird stuff. Instead of ending the hunt for the Fallen and their subsequent torturing, something that many people have had an issue with and labelled as just bad lore, the Lion has allowed it to continue. This contrasts massively with his previous stance of redeem those who were led astray and are uncorrupted, kill those who are genuine traitors. Sometimes the Lion will enter into the cells of a Fallen, both loyalist or traitor, and then they will disappear. Likely he takes them to the Forest Walk realm for some undisclosed reason. The Lion also hasn't really commented on or met Cypher yet, nor has he spoken about Luther's escape, although he does sometimes go to Luther's empty cell and meditate there. Another weird thing is that the Lion now has a secret cave that he hosts meetings with the Dark Angels High Command in, but every time Azrael and his other commanders leave these meetings, they are disturbed and spooked, so maybe the Lion is taking them to the Forest realm and showing them some cook shit. Overall, it's just a lot of mystery and secrecy, which is lame as. The newly returned Lion that vowed to sort his shit out and stop being a secretive retard has seemingly vanished. I'd say the one good thing that is more consistent with his new character is how he views the new Imperium and deals with its now dogmatic and obnoxious structure. Whenever he arrives on a world that needs saving, he will often replace the incompetent or corrupt planetary governor, completely ignore the ecclesiarchy, and directly deal with the planet's generals, soldiers, and common people. So whilst Guilliman plays politics with the parts of the Imperium he despises, the Lion just ignores it. He has also created a new special unit type for the Risen, calling them the Inner Circle Companions and gifting them with new impressive gear. However, he has also kept a lot about them secret from the other Dark Angels, which is once again annoying. I'm not sure if some new lore will make all of this more consistent and make more sense. After all, the codexes aren't told from the Lion's perspective, more so from like an outsider who can view fragments of what's happening but nothing more. On a more fun note, the Lion has actually fought against the Tyranids in glorious style. At the peak of the battle, 3 Screamer Killers and a Hive Tyrant charged the Dark Angel lines. The Lion and his Inner Circle companions emerge from his forest walk to confront them. The Lion quickly outclasses and slays one of the Screamer Killers as his Inner Circle companions take out another. The Lion then duels the 3rd Screamer briefly, but then baits it into a kill zone where it's blown apart by gunfire. Now it was the Lion versus the Hive Tyrant. The fight was painfully one-sided, as the Lion cut off the Tyrant's sword arm. In response, the Tyrant wrapped its whip around his neck, but the Lion didn't give a fuck, simply shield bashing the bitch Witch, cutting the whip off and then slicing off its head. He then charges into the reeling Tyranid horde, crushing them and achieving a decisive victory. That is more or less the last we've seen of the Lion. He continues to travel around Nyas, saving those he can, avenging those he can't. He's actually been called the Knight of Nyas as a result of his efforts. But what will he do next? Well, sadly, unless a big-ass lore event happens, we will likely be waiting for his reunion with Guilliman for a little while. G-Man is balls deep in Nids and Necrons right now. The Lion is on the other side of the galaxy fighting everything and everyone. Perhaps he will track down Vashtor and thwart his attempts to unlock whatever the fuck he's trying to unlock, or maybe we'll finally get a Loyalist Primarch vs Abaddon Showdown. Alternatively, there is still a lot of unfinished Dark Angel business, the Lion meeting with Cypher or even facing up against Luthor. Either way, I'm keen to see what he does next, as long as the Codex writers aren't the ones who get to decide. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be, where we not only have a boatload of Battlemace 40 million hentai, but also a bunch of live action nude cosplays and a plethora of Warhammer 40k fan arts. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more roaring content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.